Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Mission Employable podcast. My name is Ben Oldak with my co-host Kathy Leggett. Kathy, how's it going on this fine Tuesday afternoon?
Tuesday afternoon. It is going great, Ben.
Yeah, well, we're glad that you're here, and we are glad that Jennifer Gray is here.
Yes.
She is a registered apprenticeship program coordinator, and we are specifically going to be talking about a program that is going to help people that want to get into the education field, but maybe don't want to go about it the traditional way. We are talking about the TPRA program. Jennifer, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Awesome. Well, for those who just are joining us and don't know what the TPRA program is, it's another acronym that we love here in the state. Tell us what it means, what it stands for, and what it's all about.
All right. So the TPRA program stands for the Teacher Para Registered Apprenticeship Program. So basically what it is we have a grant that we obviously call it the TPRA grant. It's basically registered apprenticeship programs in the teacher pathway and the paraeducator pathway. So this was opened back in July of 2022. 100 and about 41 school districts are involved in this grant. There's 19 grantees, but we also have what's called consortiums. Basically, they developed a K through 12 teacher registered apprenticeship program or a paraeducator program or both to upskill their current workforce, especially in the K through 12 teacher pathway, to actually grow their own teachers. So it's really quite interesting. Also in the paraeducator pathway, which would be considered like the teacher aid pathway, they utilize a lot of the high school students. So we have close to about 100 high school students in that pathway right now that's going to receive either an associate's and teacher aid or paraeducator, and also a para certification as well. So then they have 2 years completed if they choose to continue on with their bachelor's in teaching. So it's really pretty cool. Currently we have about 760 apprentices. There's been about 60 that graduated so far this year in May for the teacher pathway. So yeah, it's so pretty cool. Yeah, it's a $45.6 million grant and it's amazing. Yeah.
That's so awesome. I think that one thing to connect to this is that, and some people may be very aware and some people not at all, is that we really need teachers and we need paras. We need both of those occupations in Iowa. We have huge shortages, and so this is a maybe non-traditional way to make the opportunity available to many more people for whom this would be a great passion.
Yes, very much so. And the one thing that's so great about this is that they're utilizing the paras that were already working for their school district.
Right.
The ones that shown that they want to continue their education, become a teacher.
Right.
And we help, pay for that tuition.
Yes.
And we also subsidize the wages as well. So it's really been such a huge success for the school districts and to grow their own, basically.
Yes.
So it is very non-traditional.
One of the other things that I love so much about this model is just as you said, identifying those who have been committed, responsible, great workers for the schools who just because of whatever circumstances have not had the chance to maybe just go fully back, to what it would take to become a teacher and do that. And they're making this program is making that available. And I encourage all employers to think about that in the upskilling. Who do you have who are those great employees? You rely on them day in and day out who might be great candidates to upskill in this way or another way to keep that those opportunities happening and fill your needs. So
yeah, well, and to piggyback off that, Kathy, I mean, I just went to a couple of weeks ago, did an interview with a para that had gone through the program and graduated to become a full-time, teacher. And you're spot on. She was, she had a 2-year associate's degree already in the bank, but then had, a family and kids and put that on pause. And she wanted to have something where she could do the schooling, but also stay with the family and not have like the full-time commitment that going back to college would. And also, of course, save the money.
Yes.
And now, but she was also working as a para at the time. So the school district knew how she worked, knew that she was a great employee, knew that she was somebody that they'd want to have on staff full time. And they were able to get her into this program where she's now graduated and now she's going to be teaching, I think it was 4th grade next year.
Yeah, she
and
love
Shannon.
that.
Yeah.
And so, I encourage everybody to take a look at that story on our YouTube page. You can just search for Iowa Workforce Development on YouTube, and they'll come up with all the videos that we've shot. And listen to her talk about it, and not just her, but I interviewed her superintendent as well. Not the superintendent, I'm sorry, the principal of the elementary school, who spoke about what a great opportunity it was, and kind of that grow your own model, and why that's so advantageous.
Yeah, it really is. And if you think about the traditional way versus non-traditional, the traditional way is going to a 4-year university to get your bachelor's in teaching, right?
Yes.
And then you have to apply to a school and get interviewed and all that. Where here with this program, you're already an employee of the school district, and you're choosing, you and the school district both are choosing, okay, we're going to pay for 2-3 years of your education to get you to be that teacher, where normally you can, you have to graduate from school, college first, and then apply and hope to get a job. So
one of the coolest things I think that Shannon told me about the program, which I had never thought about, was that when she was doing schooling, a lot of her schooling was like, a lot of stuff in the classroom. And then way later on down the road, you would go to and put it into practice in an actual classroom, not like, so you would do all your studying in college, and then like later on you would go and see it in practice. But with the TPRA program, it's like you learn something one day, and then tomorrow you can put that into practice in a real life situation.
Correct.
And being able to go through that kind of a program has been super valuable to them, where they can see things and modify things, and then take something that may not work one day and take it back to the classroom the next day and do it like continuously. And that was like she really appreciated that as a way to learn and practice.
And that's the great thing about just registered apprenticeship in general, right? It's that assignment, you're learning in school, and then you go and implement it at the same time on the job training as well. And one thing I do want to point out with the TPRA is that they are also guided by a licensed teacher. So they have that mentor and a licensed teacher. So that's really, I think, a really cool dynamic, just because they get to see firsthand how it is, and then they're also given that guidance and being taught those competencies.
And that's all the way through, right?
That's all the way through the program.
That's got to be huge.
And you wouldn't get that in the traditional way, right? So it's pretty amazing, and they can also change mentors throughout the licensed teacher throughout the whole program too, so you get different aspects of like you can pick up
different
on that.
expertise,
so different expertise, and
you
how
see,
you do things.
You see how kids respond to a certain teacher's style, and then you go with another teacher and see how they respond to that style. And you can pick and choose parts of each mentor's kind of way they do things, about how you want to do it yourself. And it's just like a really cool way to get that hands-on experience and kind of learn as you go.
That's right.
Obviously, it sounds like the TPRA program's going well with a lot of people involved.
Yeah.
Is there anything that we could be improving on? More schools, more applicants, or is it's kind of steady as she goes right now?
It's pretty steady. It's doing really well. The grant did get extended, so it was originally supposed to end June 30th of this year. And it was decided that we should extend it another 1.5 years. So currently right now, the grant will end December 31st, 2025.
Okay.
And just speaking with the school districts, they're planning on probably registering close to about 140 new apprentices by September 1st.
Wow.
So it's really taken off. And I know that the school districts are still pretty happy to continue with this program even after the grant's done.
Oh, which is key.
Important.
Yes.
Because we're still going to always need teachers,
absolutely,
right? No matter what.
Yes.
But one of the school districts that I was talking to, they have 19 new full-time teachers. And she goes,
Wow.
that's 19 positions that we now don't have open.
That's a game changer.
We only have 6 full-time positions now open for teachers. So
Yes.
if you think about that, I
Yeah.
mean, really, it's really working.
It is.
So,
And the other piece of that I want to like bring to light too is when you have all those openings and you're trying to recruit people to your area, sometimes that's difficult, because they may be settled somewhere else and they're not going to move or whatever. But here you have, like you said, grow your own. You have your great candidates in your area, so you don't even have to worry about that. You're just and they're there. They chose to live there, and so then they can contribute in the teaching arena. So,
exactly. I mean, just think how much that impacts the community there too, and also the great thing about it is that they know the district, they know the kids, they actually have an idea in their head what trajectory that they want to go with their teaching degree. So, and we do pay for endorsements as well. So if they choose to go into special ed, we can also do that endorsement for them. So
it's so great. And then also opens up now, speaking of the ones who have maybe been a para or a teacher's aide and are finishing there, but also opens up that pathway for the high school students who start to go down that path and maybe see, I want to stay here. I'm going to, build my teaching career here, because they really get those professional partnerships and things like that. So I don't know. I just think there's so many pluses, and it's hard to think of anything that's a minus to it.
I think, with the high school students, it gets them excited to want to get into that path.
Yes.
And it's really helped them make that decision. So whether or not they continue with one of the colleges or universities after they graduate, but they're still going in education.
Yes.
So they will potentially come back. They could potentially come back. So we're really exposing them as well. So
aside from Shannon, who we talked a little bit about, do you have any other cool kind of success stories that you can share with us about how this is kind of like worked in practice?
Yeah, there's one particular, I don't want to say the school district because I haven't asked them if I can say it, let them say it out loud. But there is one particular school district where there's a mother and son that both have gone at the same time to get the teaching degree. So that's pretty cool.
It is.
But there should be a lot more success stories coming out because we just had graduation.
It's just taking the time. Yes.
Yeah. So, but there's a lot of success stories that are out there, but I really like the mother and son one.
Yeah, that's
pretty cool.
Yeah.
So
if a school district doesn't have a program right now and they're thinking about starting one, what's that process look like?
Yep. So myself and the RA team can definitely help them develop that program. It could be the teacher, the para, or both. But we would definitely be here to help. So
a reach out.
Reach out
to our registered apprenticeship team here, which the easiest to go to the Iowa Workforce Development page and figure, get that way. Is there a direct website or anything? Or maybe, Jen, you can even give your phone number in case somebody wants to jot that down.
Yeah, definitely. My phone number is 515-512-2901. And then it's, believe it's a new website. So excuse me here, but I believe it's workforce.iowa.gov /registered apprenticeship.
Okay. So and I would really think that if you just go to IWD and search registered apprenticeship, or TPRA or something, there's a way to get in touch. Even if you just have questions, and I would say either if you're from a district perspective or you're from an individual in a district who's saying, hey, I want more information to see if I can get my district interested. Either way, reach out.
We do have a lot of interested job seekers reach out. And usually with that process, because right now it is under a grant, I always refer them back to their school district.
Gotcha.
Because they may not take part right now in the grant, but there's still a process there that we can still help them in that aspect. So
is it possible yet for schools to join in or not at this point with the grant funds?
No, not with the grant funds.
Yep. But they can certainly get
still
the process down and start figuring out how they might implement this.
Correct.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah. Very good.
Now, with it being summer vacation, is this a good time for people who are considering joining one of these programs to start reaching out to their school districts to see?
Absolutely. Yes. Yes. And right now is the time that they actually start looking and hiring or recruiting for the
Mhm.
actual program.
Mhm.
With the 140 that I had given
Yes.
you estimated apprentices that they're thinking about putting in or will be putting in actually, they already have kind of who they want in
Sure.
mind.
Sure.
So right now, definitely, if you are interested, I would reach out to probably the HR person within that school district.
Yeah.
And also on our website, there is a section for TPRA, and there's a
Okay.
list of school districts.
That's what I was just going to ask you. Yeah. So
there
people
should
can
be
see.
a list of school districts who are currently part of that grant.
Yeah.
So good.
You can see if the school that they're working for is on the list. So
I always
yeah.
love these kind of stories because we talk a lot, and rightly so, about apprenticeship in, like traditionally like blue collar fields,
Yes.
right? Welding, plumbing,
Mhm.
Yes.
line work, the list goes on and on and on, right? But to have apprenticeship be available to other industries that you may not think about right away, teaching,
Yeah.
IT,
Yes.
all these kind of more
Healthcare.
like
Healthcare, a lot of
Um,
healthcare.
jobs that might take place in an office, right? White
Yeah.
collar jobs, like
Accounting.
Yes.
yeah. I think
and-
that being able to show folks that so many different kinds of careers are apprenticeable is really key, and offers such a great way to remove barriers to entry to some of these programs.
Oh, definitely.
Jen,
Yeah.
do you know, are there other states who are doing teacher apprenticeship like this? What's the national picture look like?
Oh, yes. There's a lot of states that are actually developing.
Okay.
Tennessee. There's, I believe, Alaska, Missouri, Kansas. There's a lot of states that are.
So we'll see
developing
more
that
of this.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
And, Ben, to your point, again, so many occupations can be registered apprenticeship programs. And one thing I had the opportunity to do a presentation this morning and talking to different school districts. And one of the things that I put out there is, think right now in your school district, especially in your high school, what opportunities are available for that approximately 40% of students who know they're not going to college.
Mhm.
What are those opportunities that are available?
Correct.
Because Iowa has done a fantastic job with the college pathway. Those students have a pathway. It's pretty clear. What about these other, almost half of our students who are highly capable, creative, hardworking, and where is their pathway? And we're getting them done. We're starting. Yours is an example, right? And there are many other good examples, but we want to continue to grow that so that we have robust pathways, whatever direction our youth want to go here in Iowa.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, 100%. And as much as we talk about apprenticeship as an alternative to college, it's not like we're not, we don't think that there's value in going to a 4-year degree or whatever. There's incredible value to that. The amount of social capital that you gain by meeting people, by being exposed to different types of people, to you learn so much about yourself outside of growing up and going to your own school with your own people. There's a ton of value. I mean, there's incredible teachers and professors in colleges across Iowa and across the the country. And I was I know I've said this before. I've been I was in a 4-year degree program at the University of Maryland, and so and I met and studied under a lot of really, really great people. I'll also say that I learned so much on the job,
right?
That that it was almost like, man, I feel like the career that I chose could have been an apprenticeship program where I learned everything that I needed to know on the job.
Yes.
And I think that we got to keep that in mind, that there's a lot of occupations like that where yes, you learn a bunch in the classroom, and those are great foundational pieces to have, but you also learn so much on the job.
Yeah.
You really do.
Yeah.
And I think that goes back to your success story that you were talking about with Shannon.
Yeah.
It's she learned, you learn the traditional pathway as you go to college. And once you get possibly a job in that field and you're you have to remember what you were taught, right?
Mhm.
And that can be a little difficult because sometimes
Right.
it passed. But here you are learning simultaneously.
Yeah, you get to
So
apply it.
you really get to
Yes.
apply it at the
Yep.
same time, and you can always take questions back and forth. You know, like,
Yes.
hey, this was done on the job. You know, how does this reflect on what I'm learning, the
Mhm.
theory portion of it? So it's really cool, and that's the great thing about a registered apprenticeship program,
It is.
right?
Well,
So
Jennifer, thank you
Yes.
so much for
Yes.
stopping by the
Thank you.
podcast. We loved having you.
Yeah.
Such a cool program. We can't
It
wait to
is.
keep tabs on it and see how
Yeah.
it goes over the next couple of
Yeah.
years and kind
Yes.
of beyond the
Yeah.
grant.
definitely.
Thanks so much for being here.
Thank you.
It's great.